Welcome to 43 Pounds, your source for inspiring stories from entrepreneurs and business leaders. We'll dive deep into the stories of our guests, uncovering their unique journeys to success and exploring the obstacles they faced along the way. I'm Chinonye Akunne, your host, and today I am joined by Lisa A. Smith.
Hi,
Hi,
Chinonye.
Lisa.
Happy to be here.
Thank you for joining.
Of course. I'm Lisa A. Smith. I am a plant based health and business coach, and I specialize in taking a whole food plant based approach to combating chronic health challenges on the consumer side. And on the business side, I specialize in helping plant based health professionals package their passion into a thriving coaching business. So, I'm the founder of a company called the Black Health Academy and of the Plant Protocol. The Plant Protocol, we offer a plant based coaching certification, the first to be founded by a person of color. We also offer provider training to healthcare providers. And then we also offer one on one plant based health coaching to consumers. So, super excited to be here.
Yes, this is very exciting.
Yeah.
So, how did you start your business? How did you form the Black Health Academy?
Yeah, so it all came from recognizing, an injustice in the world. I'm a firm believer that when it comes to business, you start a business for one reason and one reason only, and that's to solve a problem. And so I recognized all of the inequities in Western medicine for people of color. And I also recognized that our biggest health challenges were chronic lifestyle diseases, diseases that are occurring as a result of our everyday choices. And so I'm a whole food plant based vegan. I believe in the lifestyle and I'm certified in the education, and I decided that I wanted to help our people make the transition to this lifestyle to combat these chronic lifestyle diseases because Western medicine wasn't moving fast enough for me. And so I
Okay.
wanted to fill that gap, and so that's how I started.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
So, I love how you talked about what inspired you to do it, but what are some of those key principles and pillars
Mm-hmm.
that drive you every day and
Mm-hmm.
making sure that you're reaching out to your target audience and making sure that people are hearing your mission?
Mm-hmm. So I'm a firm believer that if you are solving a conventional problem in an unconventional way, you absolutely must show up publicly and become a public figure. Meaning, we're taking a plant based approach to combating chronic health challenges, where typically in America, we take a pharmacological approach.
Hmm.
And so while we're teaching people, hey, you can eat the plants, you can eat the food, and that's going to heal you, we also have a responsibility to show up publicly and share that perspective on a daily basis.
Okay.
So, like, three value systems that really drive our business is number one, service. Always prioritizing serving at a high level. Number two, integrity. And that's not just about, giving people and delivering on what we say we're selling, but that's really about, do we live the lifestyle personally that we're asking our clients and our students to? So I'm really big on integrity in that way. And then our final pillar will be mastery. So I'm huge on making sure we have a firm understanding as a team of the nutrition and lifestyle science needed to serve our consumers and of the business principles needed to serve our business clients. Really making sure we have that we're constantly doing con ed, continuing education,
Hmm.
professional development, and staying abreast of all of the trends and the pro tips and the best practices in our industry to help our clients really package their passion into a thriving coaching business. So, service, integrity, and mastery.
Okay, I love that. So I
Yeah.
want to focus on that mastery part because I
Yes.
think that is where people are able to go from good to great and
Yes.
really mastering what you do.
Yeah.
So when you started your business,
Yeah.
how did you identify what type of continuing education to take, what seminars to go to,
Mm-hmm.
who to network with? What were
Yes.
some of those steps that you took?
Oh, so simple. This is exactly what we teach our coaches in the plant protocol. When there's so many options and so many different directions you can go when it comes to what should I learn next? What should I prioritize? The first thing you want to make sure you do is that you're specialized. So it's very difficult for a generalist to decide what to study, but it's not that difficult for a specialist.
Okay.
So, one of the things you want to make sure is that in your business, you're not trying to service everyone. What do you specialize in? What specific and specialized and sophisticated problem do you solve? Right. And so, for example, inside the plant protocol, we train up our coaches and we teach them how to specialize. So, we have a plant based health coach that specializes in diabetes, a plant based health coach that specializes in weight loss. We have health coaches that specialize in athleticism, lupus, like heart disease. We have so many specialties at the plant protocol. And so they know how to streamline their continuing education and professional development because they solve a specific problem in the marketplace as opposed to trying to be a generalist.
Okay. Oh, I love that. So it's like
Yeah.
niching down,
100%.
and they always say like the riches are in the niches.
Yes.
And that's because you're talking to one person
That's right.
versus trying to talk to everyone. I
Exactly.
love it.
Yes.
Okay. So what are some of those, as you've like grown into an entrepreneur,
Yeah.
what are some of those habits that you initially had to break? And then what are some of those habits that you formed that have really made you master your craft and master your skill?
Yeah, so I think my biggest habit forming, habit breaking transformations all center around belief systems. The first thing that I had to break was the 9 to 5 mindset. So, I became an entrepreneur for the first time in 2015. And as I got into the field of running my own business day to day, it took me years before I realized like you can go walking on the water on Tuesday at noon. Like you don't have to work till 5 p.m.
Yeah.
You don't have to like I had to really own the fact that I'm in control of my time. I have time freedom. I run an online company, so I have geographic freedom, and I really had to disconnect from the 9 to 5 mindset. And what was really big outside of the time thing was I had to recognize that who the 8 hour workday was created for. The 8 hour workday was really created for, laborers, manual laborers, and skilled labor. But if you run a business that requires a lot of intellectual property and intellectual content creation, you actually can't go that long. Like 8 hours is too long, right? And so I was trying to force myself to work past a point of exhaustion because I really was coming from that 9 to 5. And I'm like, I can't be done with work at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
started at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
That's egregious, right? And so shifting my beliefs that because I sell my intellectual property for a living and everything I create, the frameworks, the curriculums, our programs, all comes from my brain, that level of concentration and deep work cannot be sustained for an 8 to 10 hour day. So
Okay.
that was one of the first beliefs that I had to shift. And then some of the beliefs that I had to adopt were all about what was available to me. Like the sky is truly the limit. Like there is no limit on opportunity, on money, on partnerships, on joy. And so I had to realize that I'm creating a business, to solve a problem, and I also get to be happy in it.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So those were some beliefs that I really had to work hard on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to backtrack. You talked about a 9 to 5.
Yeah.
How did you prepare yourself to leave your 9 to 5? And what was that spark that said, okay, now is the time to do it. You're not going to wait anymore. You're
Yeah.
not going to wait for perfection.
I have a very non-traditional story, so I don't know if it's going to be the answer is going to be so satisfying, but I actually left my nine to five blindly before I started my first company. So I wasn't working a 9 to 5 when I started my first company. So what happened was I was actually working. The last 9 to 5 I had was as a foster care worker, and I really, really, really desired at that time to work for the federal government because I wanted to travel the world for free. Okay, so I wanted to pimp the federal government. Okay,
Yeah.
and so I was applying for internships internationally through the State Department. And by this time, I was 4 years into my role as a foster care worker, as a social worker. And the federal government replied to, my application and said, you've been selected, to do an internship. But here's the deal. The internship is unpaid. So you can do this internship. We are giving you the first country of your choice, which is Italy, but it's unpaid. And so I went to my job at the time at the state of Michigan and I said, I don't want to quit, but I would like a 3 month leave of absence to go do an internship abroad. And they said no. So it's at that point I had a choice to make. Do I stay here and keep my job, my 401k, my benefits, and alleged security? Or do I take a chance on myself, do this internship, and figure it out?
Okay.
So I was not an entrepreneur. I was not considering being an entrepreneur. I just wanted to see the world. So I quit my 9 to 5. I moved to Italy. I cashed out my 401k, took all the penalties that came with it, and it's been up.
And you're here.
And here I am. And here I am.
I
But
love
I won't
it.
say I didn't go back and work from Spotty. I went back and worked as a personal trainer though. I
Okay.
did, so I did end up still working as a personal trainer.
Uh-huh.
After Italy, I went into China and I did teach English as a second language.
Okay.
So very non-traditional. So
Mhm.
that wasn't my last time working for someone.
Mhm.
However, I started my own company soon after. So when I started my company, I wasn't in a traditional 9 to 5. It was very easy to quit being a personal trainer for
Okay.
my own personal training business at the
Yeah.
time.
Okay,
Yeah,
nice. Oh, I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
And I love that you took that chance because a lot of people would say, "Well, it's unpaid, so I'm not going to take that opportunity."
Yeah.
But they literally gave you a job in Italy. Like, when
Yes.
else are you going to see Italy for 3 months? Um, you're supported by the government, although you have
Listen.
to bring your own money, but
Yes.
I'm sure the cost of living must have been lower. I'm assuming
I
that.
would have slept on the ground outside of the Coliseum. Do you hear
Okay.
me? From that day to this one, I have never said yes quicker in my life.
Good.
Like it was no, it's like, oh, you won't retain my job? No problem. I quit.
Yeah.
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 Oh wow. And
Yeah.
honestly, that's you didn't know it at the time, but that was literally the impetus for like the trajectory of your life.
It's a fact, Shanona. I'm
Uh-huh.
so glad you said that because now what do I preach and teach to my clients, my students, my mastermind, the gift of radical obedience, right? And radical obedience is all about surrendering to what you truly feel like you're being called to do and moving in the direction you feel you're being called to move in. That was my very first leap of radical obedience,
Okay.
you know? And ever since then, I've been just being obedient. And here I am.
Good.
Yeah, we still
Yeah.
eating.
Are you still
We
eating?
still eating.
Still glowing,
Yes,
changing lives,
100%.
changing lives.
100%.
So, another change that you did, you went from being solely direct to consumer or
Yeah.
client to client to now working with corporations.
Hmm.
Why did you make that change,
Yeah.
and what were some of the benefits and some of the cons that you've seen
Yeah.
in making that move?
Yeah. I just wanted to solve the problem we're solving on a bigger scale. Right. So initially, all of our services, our programming was, like you said, direct to consumer,
Hmm.
right? Like, hey, if you have a chronic health challenge, let us help you take a plant based approach to
Hmm.
solving it. Right. And then I'm like, Lisa, your personal mission is to extend the healthy life expectancy of people of color on this planet.
Hmm.
You're certainly not going to do it alone, and you're not going to do it one person at a time. And so, what you have to do is you have to train and teach the people who are going to service those people. And so, I needed to go up to serve more people. And so now, we go into companies, we partner with different organizations, and most importantly, we train healthcare providers, right? The doctors and the nurses who are servicing these individuals. And so that
Okay.
was the reason for that. It's just I want to get as close as I can as possible to seeing my mission realized while I'm alive. Now, let's be clear, I'm going to live to 150,
Okay.
right? Because these plants be given.
You know.
Okay. So, I mean, I got some time, but I really, 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 Chinonye, want to make it my mission to extend the healthy life expectancy of people of color. And we have to have more subject matter experts around plant based nutrition and taking a nutritional approach to health and longevity. And so the Black Health Academy has made it our mission, to educate people on that. And we just couldn't do it one consumer at a time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I completely understand that. Even myself having a product-based business, I'm realizing that there is value in scale,
Yes.
and there's value in partnering with working with different companies who are already established and
Yes.
getting our name out there.
Mm.
So, how are these doctors, physicians, companies able to find you, or do you reach out to them?
Yeah, so it's super cool because we had a plant-based coaching program, Farm to Table, for many years, which we
Hmm.
still have. We
Hmm.
license out now, but a lot of them came from that program, right? A lot of them started on the consumer side. I'm a
Okay.
nurse and I'm not in the best health myself, and a lot of them started off by just doing it for themselves.
Okay.
But then, of course, we taught them the science behind the lifestyle. We helped them practically adapt it into their personal lives, and they're like, I got to spill this over into my career.
Hmm.
So, it's been a natural progression. One of the things we say in business is like the best business model is one that creates a new problem by solving another.
Hmm.
And so the vision for me creating the plant protocol, plant-based coaching certification, I was only solving a problem. People were graduating from farm to table and were like, I'm a vegan now. I'm loving it. I had the most amazing transformation and I want to help other people do the same. And I was
Okay.
like, shucks, I got to teach these people how I created a health coaching company,
Yeah.
you know? And so this, the plant protocol just solves the problem that farm to table created. And so I had doctors and nurses who were in farm to table, and a lot of them just follow me over to the plant protocol. But then also, absolutely, working in this space for so long, I have just doctors in the community who just naturally refer the Black Health Academy to their patients.
Okay.
And so I'm like, you know what? I have some connections with some healthcare providers. Let me do some market research. Let me see, what their needs are, because our vision now is to create what's called collaborative care partnerships, where I want my certified coaches to go into some of these private practices, and we want to partner with physicians to help them help their patients make
Okay.
lifestyle modifications, because they don't have the time that they would like to spend with the patient, but we have the time, we have the expertise, and so we want to help healthcare providers help their patients with the lifestyle modifications that so many are always non-compliant on, because they just don't, like, your doctor can tell you eat better and lose weight,
Yeah.
but a lot of this information is foreign to people. And so the plant protocol, we created a provider training for, healthcare providers who want to learn nutrition science better and lifestyle science. So that's one way we can serve as healthcare providers. But another way is that we can just partner with them and, bring our coaches into their practice and help pair their patients with our coaches.
Okay, so you are meeting people right where they are. And we don't want to meet people in the doctors or hospitals, but
Exactly.
unfortunately, with the diet that most people have, that's
Yeah.
where we are going to meet them. So it's great that you're able to target them right where they
Yes.
are and then
Yes.
hopefully have them never go back to that situation
That's the
again.
goal.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? I know you talked about you don't work a whole 8 hours.
Yeah.
So, how are you able to balance your time? What are some of those ways that you've been able to navigate your time to be successful?
Yeah, like really mastering the art of prioritization
Hmm.
and understanding the difference between time management and task management. So, how I define the difference is time management is you trying to figure out how to do everything you've already said yes to. Okay. Task management is controlling what you say yes to.
Okay. That right there, task management.
So different from time management.
Yes, because so many times we say yes because we think we have the time. Then
Exactly.
by the time you get to needed to do it, it's like, wait, I actually don't have that
I don't have it,
time.
right? So
Yeah.
time management requires you to manage all these time and tasks because you've already committed to so many things. But
Hmm.
task management is being hyper aware of your capacity
Hmm.
before you make the commitment, right? And so I am so proud of the flexibility of my life.
Hmm.
I am so proud of it because every day, first things first, I prioritize my mental. So I start the day with meditation, followed by prayer, followed by an intense workout because my most valuable asset is my brain because all I sell is my intellectual property for a living.
Hmm.
So like heavy on the leg days. Most people don't know that your leg strength is directly correlated with your intelligence. So I work
Wait, can
legs.
you break that down for
Right. I'm
us?
like, how much
Like,
time we
hold on,
got?
wait. We got time.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. So if you're someone who runs a business where you have to constantly create for a living, right? Like for me, I'm constantly writing emails. I'm constantly doing my podcast. I'm constantly doing other people's podcasts. I am constantly creating and refining the curriculum in our programs. And then I'm constantly pitching, for business and speaking engagements and working with people. And so I constantly have to be creative and sharp and problem solve and do deep work. Like my brain is my most valuable asset, no exaggeration. And so when it comes to brain health, your legs is there's a direct correlation between the strength of your legs and the effectiveness of your brain.
wow.
So if you want to improve the effectiveness of your brain, your neurological cognitive functioning, of course, you want to eat right. You got to get all the saturated fat and cholesterol and things that clog arteries out of your diet because our brain is very vascular. So
Hmm.
the same thing that clogs the arteries from the neck down clogs the arteries from the neck up.
Okay.
And so that's part of why my plant-based vegan diet is so effective with how I'm able to create, recall, and concentrate because all of those arteries aren't clogged.
Hmm.
But then also your leg strength. So if you can walk, do squats, do lunges, it really improves the performance of your brain.
Okay.
Deep stuff.
Wow, deep
Oh, I
stuff.
love
The
this
more
stuff.
you know.
I'm telling
Like, oh
you.
my
I'm telling
gosh.
you. Yes.
Okay, so that is what you do to be successful.
Yes.
So, if you had one piece of advice for your younger self, what would you tell yourself?
Raise your prices to match the value that you are delivering. 100%. The second thing will probably be now, don't just raise your price because you think you're the best. It has to match the value you're delivering.
And that is through mastery.
There you go. It's through mastery and specialization.
Okay,
So do not solve a generic problem, solve a specialized problem. And
okay,
then raise the price to match the value of solving that problem for the consumer.
okay.
And the second piece, will really probably be do not invest any more money in education unless it's specialized education and you've truly identified a gap in your knowledge, i.e., make a data driven decision.
Hmm.
Do not invest in more education or more continuing education based off of insecurity.
Hmm.
I wasted 2 years in pre med because I was insecure about not being a doctor, and now I teach doctors.
Okay.
And so I think that it was one of the biggest pieces of advice is be careful with allowing imposter syndrome to make you believe you're not enough or you're not capable. Do the personal development work to work through that limiting belief. And how do you work through limiting beliefs? You get a second opinion. So if you believe you're not enough, if you believe you're not smart enough, sharp enough, whatever you believe, run it past somebody else. Just get a second opinion.
Hmm.
But don't allow your limiting beliefs to grow legs and force you to make decisions that are misaligned.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like just on a personal note, I actually enrolled in like two programs
Yeah.
because I thought I needed it. And it was draining me. I was not aligned. I ended up wasting thousands of dollars because I didn't finish.
Oh,
And it's like, I already have a master's. I've already done a lot of certifications. Do I need more education? No,
yeah.
but it was absolutely that imposter syndrome
Yes.
that got me. So, like all of last year, I spent time just developing myself. So, taking acting classes, learning how to swim, going to
Yes.
the gym, changing
Yes.
my lifestyle.
Yes.
And I realized like, oh, I just need to figure out who I am
Yeah.
and realize that I'm a good person. I'm that girl. I'm that person.
You are definitely that girl. I mean,
It's
I've been knowing you for
like,
years. Like we
yeah.
run into each other in this entrepreneurial space, all that. You are definitely that girl.
Uh-huh.
You're more than enough. And so I'll say, like, I keep a coach. Let me be very clear. Like I
Hmm.
keep a coach. I pay thousands of dollars a year for coaches,
Hmm.
but it's very intentional.
Okay.
Like I invested in a coach to teach me how to get speaking gigs on a high level because I know speaking is my gift. I belong on big stages and I wanted to understand the process behind really making it in the speaking industry. So
Okay.
I invest in specialized knowledge and education where I know there is a clear gap. So it's a well thought out decision.
Hmm.
It's not based on insecurity. So I do believe in con ed, but it has to make sense for your
Yeah.
business. Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
So, what is one last thing that you would like to leave our guest?
Hmm. I would probably say one of the best decisions you can make for yourself is deciding to surrender to obedience. Do not wake up every day and do something that your gut is telling you not to do. You know, if you know you've outgrown that job, if you know you've outgrown a business you started,
Yep.
if you know if you know you've outgrown a situation, don't make a fear-based decision and stay in a situation that doesn't serve you because you're afraid of failing, you're afraid of not having enough. Be careful with allowing a lack mindset to make decisions. Radical obedience, meaning every decision I make is driven by my mission. I said yes today because it made sense for my mission. Like when I say yes, it makes sense for the mission. When I say no, it's because it doesn't make sense for the mission. It has nothing to do with my ego. It has nothing to do with my personal desires. It has nothing to do with what I personally want my bank account to look like. Everything I'm guided to do, I'm I'm able to extract joy from it because it's a mission driven decision. And that level of radical obedience takes way more faith than hard work. We always hear, faith without works is dead. But I personally believe most of us have mastered the hard work and we have not mastered the faith.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yeah.
So, where can people find you? Where can people keep in touch with you?
Yes. Well, social media first and foremost. I'm at Lisa Angel Smith on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want to learn more about services, speaking, that's lisaangelsmith.com.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
So, thank you for tuning into this week's episode of 43 Pounds. I'm your host, Chinonye Akunne, and you can subscribe to this channel and follow our social media at 43 Pounds LLC. I'll chat with you soon. Bye. Thank you.